And we are back with another edition of Real Talk. It's been a long ass time.
It's been a while. We have an excuse though. I was away.
Yeah, you've been in America.
Busy. You've been doing your thing. You've been going to all of these MMA events and fighting events. Hustling. I like it. But let's talk about some movies because we have actually
we've got a lot of
few
news,
interesting stories.
We've got a lot of news. Straight into it. I'm gonna go with the news that hit last night. We all knew Strange Things 4.
Yeah.
It was gonna come out sooner or later.
Not surprised.
But we saw the teaser maybe earlier than expected.
Well, when did season 3 premiere?
Season
July?
3 premiered July.
Was it July? So obviously...
So we're in October now.
But I think that week of July was pretty busy. I don't remember what else came out that week, but I remember you and I were talking about...
Midsummer. We saw Midsummer.
Yes.
What else did we see? We saw...
Was it Spider-Man? It was Spider-Man.
Spider-Man and Midsummer.
Yeah.
That was a good.
So that was
memory,
good
man.
week. That's what I remember from that.
Yeah.
I haven't seen season 3 yet. I dropped my phone.
You've not seen season
I've not seen
3
it yet. Not yet. This is what I'm going to say about.
Must be one of the only people who hasn't seen it.
I am one of the few, and surprisingly, I've gotten spoilers for it already.
I was going to say, for your sake, I wasn't going to go into the specifics.
No. I mean, I think it's not really a surprise because I think. The cultural impact of Stranger Things, starting from season 1, not even
it's been
season
ridiculous.
2, it's crazy. And in fact, I am surprised that the deal for the Duff Brothers is only
the Duffer Brothers.
Yeah, I'm surprised that it's only a 9-figure deal and not even bigger than that.
Oh, come on, 9 figures is ridiculous. I was going to say...
No, it was 6 figures, sorry, not 9 figures.
It was 9 figures.
Was it 9
It was 9 figures. And this isn't...
I thought that was too big, actually, for a second.
For those that don't know, the Duffer Brothers, who are the creators and producers of Strange Things...
Almost all the episodes as well?
Yeah, directed most of them. They get a guest director in every season, which coincidentally, an interviewer I follow, Kevin McCarthy, he was speaking to the Russo brothers, and he recommended that they'd direct episodes next season.
One. I think Guillermo del Toro would do a brilliant job, too.
Super dark. He fit in with the... like really crazy creature designs and stuff. But getting back to the news of that, this is actually separate from the news of Strange Things 4. The Duffer Brothers have signed a 9-figure deal to create new content, whether it's films or television shows, for the foreseeable future with Netflix.
Are you surprised?
I'm not surprised. Those guys are geniuses.
I was about to say, because I was surprised that this deal didn't come sooner. That's what I meant to say earlier. Because I thought, I thought 9 figures in my head was quite a lot. But when you think about what Stranger Things has done, not only for their career, but for Netflix as a brand. Because I think now anytime you see Netflix, just like you think of HBO, you think of shows like Game of Thrones, I think now Netflix has Stranger Things going for it. They've obviously got the El Camino Breaking Bad movie 2 coming out. Yeah. And there's so much original content that Netflix is putting out, but at the crux of it all is Stranger Things. So the Duffer Brothers, being put in charge of a lot of creative content isn't surprising.
It'll be interesting to see if they stay in the avenue of science fiction / horror, or whether they go out of the genre-focused stories and go into more drama and thriller and more grounded products. Because I still feel like with the character-driven stuff they've got going on in Stranger Things, they can do some really great real-world stories as well.
I think they can do it. I think they can. We'll see where they go. We'll obviously update you guys if there's any news in the future.
100%. So, yeah, Stranger Things 4, it's going to be coming out next summer, we presume. The dates haven't been announced.
I'll have seen it by then as well.
Yeah, please do. Please have seen it by next week. They're no longer in Hawkins anymore. Bit of a spoiler for you.
I saw the teaser. It's all right.
Yeah, it didn't really show anything, to be honest. No. But moving on, probably aside from that, if that hadn't happened last night, we would have been opening with this one. Now, this one is gathering a lot of momentum, the Batman movie.
More slowly, very slowly, because there's more casting in that one than ever, and also more story.
It right, though.
But also story elements, too. And obviously, the big one. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm getting excited just thinking about it.
So, basically, for those that don't know, Robert Pattinson is Batman. That's confirmed. For me, that's an amazing piece of casting. Yeah. But we've been sat twiddling our thumbs thinking, where is the story going to be heading?
Yeah.
Who else is going to be starring it? And more importantly, who is going to be the villain? Now, we can't confirm any of those questions. We actually can't confirm the answer to any of those questions. But we can kind of steer you in the direction of what could be. Jonah Hill has reportedly been in talks for yet to be decided villain, but it's supposed to be an iconic villain.
Yeah.
That has yet to be portrayed on the screen. Is that correct?
I don't know about that, but last
Okay.
part. But I do know that it's completely an iconic villain.
I meant in recent times. So obviously.
Oh, in recent times.
Yeah, so
okay, yeah.
The main ones we're talking about
Yeah.
Penguin and Riddler.
Yeah, I personally think Penguin suits him perfectly. Now, I'm not saying that from a physical standpoint. I just think he can bring a raw sense of comedic value to the Penguin that's needed. Because I think when you think of Danny DeVito as Penguin, for me, it's not. Yeah, exactly. Now you would, but back then as well, I didn't. As a kid, I never thought he was terrorizing, and I think him as the Riddler would bring a really great comedic value. But I find the Riddler as a villain far less compelling than the Penguin. So I feel like the Penguin has more of a Rob De Niro mobbish sense to him.
Because he's not going to be getting his hands dirty.
No.
He's going to have someone else to do it for him. Now, in Batman Returns, when we're talking about Danny DeVito, Catwoman was the other person.
Yes.
Pretty much getting her hands dirty. Michelle Pfeiffer in latex. It's pretty great.
That was a good time.
That was
for
a good
film
time.
Fans. But I also want to add as well, with Jonah Hill being linked in, we do have confirmation about Jim Gordon has been cast, and the actor portraying him is perfect. So I'm hoping now maybe with Jonah Hill, even if because the villain hasn't been decided yet.
Yeah, still not been decided.
So that means that he's impressed Matt Reeves, the writer and director of this movie, so much that he's like, look, you can either be this villain or this villain.
This is a two-time Oscar nominee, though.
Yeah, exactly.
In Jonah Hill. Forgetting, when we mention Jonah Hill, the casual film fans will automatically think of Superbad, 21 Jump Street, maybe even Get Him to the Greek.
Yes, sir.
But when I think of him, I think of Wolf of Wall Street, War Dogs, Maniac.
Especially Maniac. If you guys haven't seen
Maniac
yet,
is tremendous.
Because we're talking about. Because I thought he brought a lot of comedy to that role that was necessary to elevate it, but then...
And you can have the empathetic side of the Penguin as well, if you're going to go down that route, as to why he is the way he is, why he's got this sadistic nature, because empathy for villains, like we've seen with Thanos in Avengers, that really does sell.
Yeah, it does.
It makes you buy into it.
And I think because of Jonah Hill being such a great, dramatic actor who compels a lot of, emotion, and I'm not talking about just, from in front of the screen. I think we know that he can handle characters behind the screen, because if you guys haven't seen the movie yet, mid-90s, which you and I rave about, that's a movie that he knows how to make characters compelling and emotional.
Characters to life.
So I believe I believe mid-90s might be a reason as well why Matt Reeves really wants to collab with Jonah Hill, because maybe
100%.
he understands that there's so much more to Jonah Hill than just an actor now. He's a character writer, which I think is brilliant.
When you've got guys like Martin Scorsese saying that he was key to the comedic nature of Wolf of Wall Street, which at its core, it is a comedy. He brought the improvisation to that movie. That's absolutely unbelievable to have a guy like Scorsese sing your praises like that. Next up, we have... Now, this is absolutely awesome. This came as a massive surprise. Disney continuing to do absolute bits here. We've had a bit of a slump recently. We're going to get into that one later. It kind of was rejuvenated, but still wasn't very nice to hear. But news broke the other day that Kevin Feige, who is responsible for much of Marvel's success in the cinematic universe, is going to be undertaking the creation of an upcoming Star Wars film.
Now, it was really interesting about this is that the news it's not just rumor. Bob Iger, the head of Disney, the overlord of the most successful business of all time, came out and announced it with pride, which kind of gives you a bit of confidence, because Kevin Feige has been known behind the scenes to be, yes, he loves Marvel, yes, he loves all those superheroes, but his one true love was Star Wars. And it's actually been known for a while. And you look at how he's curated the Marvel Universe, maybe they're looking for some way to take over Kathleen Kennedy. Now, I believe that this next movie that he's going to produce for... this Star Wars movie he's going to produce is not going to be connected to any stories we're familiar with. I think it's going to be a whole new thing.
But he can bring that element where, we could end up having... I feel like there is a reason why we're venturing away from the Skywalkers now, and we're going to have all these spin-offs made, because they are going to be interconnected in a way. I feel like we are going to have a Star Wars cinematic universe.
And I'd be very happy with that, because That could be one of the reasons why Kevin Feige is being brought in.
Exactly.
Now, for some people, I think it's a bit... Because Marvel's been so... let's not undermine anything Marvel has done. They have reached the pinnacle of filmmaking, especially with Endgame.
Of storytelling.
So where does Kevin Feige go next? Some people might argue that moving to Star Wars is somewhat linear. Some would say that it's an improvement because... I love The Last Jedi. I know you and I have our disagreements and talks about it, but a lot of people feel like the Star Wars brand has come downhill. So maybe now Disney's trying to recruit some more talent behind the scenes to elevate it back to the status that it once was before the Disney era. And I don't really see how anybody could twist this into a negative. I know for some reason Twitter's gotten a bit iffy with Kevin Feige.
No, I feel like when Star Wars is mentioned, you're going to get those negative comments purely because, as you mentioned, myself included, I didn't like The Last Jedi. Didn't sit well with me, but I'm still a massive Star Wars nerd.
Yeah, and I know you
the
are.
franchise. I'm absolutely buzzing for Rise of the Skywalker. I think this is great news. You know, it's a welcome surprise, as well as the Game of Thrones showrunners are going to be making a prequel trilogy, not prequel trilogy, but a trilogy that's disconnected from the Skywalker saga. So we've got great established storytellers trying their own in a brand that, you know, he's pretty much the tip of the iceberg, the Skywalker story.
Yeah,
it's an absolutely thriving universe full of so many offshoot stories and characters, and that'll bring comedy, sadness, drama, darkness, everything that you'd want.
Well, if you can imagine it, so imagine the Skywalker story, and I'm comparing it to Marvel because of it being Kevin Feige, so... excuse me if I'm seeming a little bit too repetitive here, but the reason why I'm going to talk about the similarities between Marvel and Star Wars is because if you think of the Skywalker saga as sort of the Avengers saga, now if you look what Marvel did, which was, yes, Avengers was the main key component, and it still is, of Marvel. But they involved Guardians of the Galaxy, they involved Doctor Strange, they involved all these very obscure and really unknown characters. You're talking about bringing in comedy elements, Guardians of the Galaxy. You're talking about these mystical elements too, which, you know, you can delve into the Force. You can delve into these really cool, nerdy, awesome things.
The best thing that Marvel did was create unique genre films. And then bringing it all together in a completely organic and natural way that didn't feel forced.
Sure.
So you have Black Panther, which was a brilliant political commentary, almost like a spy movie. It was like Black Panther was kind of like James Bond.
Talk about spy movies, The Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier, that was more like espionage, like...
Yeah, espionage, 70s thriller.
Covert, yeah, exactly.
So I don't know how anybody could interpret this other than anything positive for the Star Wars universe.
Exactly, man. This is brilliant. Now, we mentioned Marvel a lot, obviously, rightly so.
Sure.
We're talking about Kevin Feige.
Who doesn't talk about Marvel nowadays? I mean, let's be frank with us.
It's just everywhere.
Yeah.
It's dominating.
Hey, they keep on putting out good movies.
Brings me happiness. Brings you happiness.
It does, especially with this next news topic.
Well, actually, in a contrast, we're going to go to the one that didn't bring us happiness.
Oh, okay.
So... Spider-Man. Let's just reverse ourselves back.
Okay. Take me back to that depressing stage in August.
We're just all enjoying our lives, right? I'd just seen the Far From Home a month before. Was absolutely buzzing with the thought of Spider-Man going full John Wick and having the whole city on his back. That's pretty much like what happened. The end of Far From Home. You should have seen it by now, so I'm going to spoil it.
Everyone finds out that he's Spider-Man.
And then J. Jonah Jameson, is that?
Yeah, J.K. Simmons. Yeah,
J.K. Simmons. He just I'm going to show up now.
The most perfect cameo of all time.
I'm going to jump from one cinematic universe to another. I'm going to go from Sony to the MCU, which is pretty crazy.
Do you mean DC to the MCU? Not Sony to the MCU, because Sony's in the MCU.
DC?
Yeah, he was Jim Gordon.
Yeah, I know he was. I know he's Jim Gordon, but I thought he was. What?
Sony.
Yeah,
what do you mean
I know
Sony
he was
to
Jim
the MCU?
Gordon, but I even forgot he was Jim Gordon.
I know.
For a second.
That's what really confuses me is that they made such a big deal of it.
What I'm saying is he played the character in the Tobey Maguire movies. That's what I'm saying.
Right. Sorry,
that's what everybody knows.
I was thinking of
how many people saw Justice League.
Well, it made
It made a good amount of money.
A few people saw it.
Yeah, a few people saw it.
But
How many people liked it? Should have been my question.
I'm not surprised that he came back, if I'm being honest, because number one, he loves he's
the character. He is the
most suited character. I think you've got Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, and Tony Stark, have J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson. Yeah. I'm a huge Spider-Man nerd, and even as a kid, I realized that going from the comics to the movies, that was the perfect character portrayal I've ever seen.
But, yeah, and I thought, when he turned up, I thought, are they kind of going to be bringing Into the Spider-Verse into this universe? Because in the trailers, obviously we now know the multiverse thing.
Well, it's fake. I said it was fake!
It was fake! But then the Doctor Strange announcement, which means
the multiverse
it's real. So... It could still happen.
Which one is it?
Because Doctor Strange is the multiverse of madness. So there is a multiverse. Why he's in this movie, we don't know, and we are going to find out now, because there was a moment where we didn't think we'd find out. Because
we were all in that depressed stage in August.
What we're getting to,
we talked about J.K. Simmons, okay?
Yeah. we've always got to talk about J.K. Simmons.
Sure.
Was that Sony snatched the rights right from under Marvel's noses, because apparently Marvel wanted a cut that was deemed too much.
Well, they wanted 20 times the amount that Disney wanted 20 times the original amount they were earning.
Yeah.
Plus over 50% of financial rights to the movie, so they were paying more for the movie, which means, no, hold on. If they started paying more for the financial development of the movie, they would own more than half of the creative control of the character, and they would slowly earn the character back. Which
exactly.
It's a bad business move
from Disney. But I don't know how it's a bad business move when they've been completely responsible for rejuvenating a character that, when Andrew Garfield was around, it was just a fun summer blockbuster, if that, at a push.
It wasn't 20 times, it was actually 10 times. They were originally getting 5% of the earnings, and then they wanted 50%.
But they made this character alive. They created a world that was, breathing with life and fun and just everything that it created before, with Thor, Captain America, Black Panther, Guardians of the Galaxy, all merged into one. And it was the dream scenario for Spider-Man nerds like me and you, because we haven't seen it captured so perfectly on screen before. I think there was elements in the Tobey Maguire ones. Yeah?
The elements, yeah.
Yeah. But I think Tom Holland just is he's perfect for that role.
I mean, you go into a deal where you're originally earning $5 an hour at a job, but then you go to your boss one day and demand 10 times the amount. You decide that you want to earn £50 an hour because you're putting in a lot of effort, and you might be raking in a lot of money for the company, but you obviously have to understand from business side that is extremely ridiculous. Now, Sony originally wanted to make the deal 25% from 5, which is 5 times the amount that Disney was going to be earning in the first place. And then Disney stood its ground, and Sony thought to themselves, well, look, we're making over $900 million for Venom, which, by the way, was more than any of the Spider-Man movies had made before Far From Home. You look at Into the Spider-Man...
Did have Tom Hardy in it, though?
What do you mean?
If Venom didn't have Tom Hardy in it, then it wouldn't have made as much money.
I disagree with that. I'll tell you why. Because if Mad Max Fury Road didn't make back its budget money, and he was the poster boy for that...
Yeah, but okay, Venom is
name
an
another
established
movie. Name another movie that.
Yeah, but Mad
Tom
Max
Hardy.
is very niche, though. Especially when you watch that movie as well. That's not going to appeal to a mass audience.
But name another movie that Tom Hardy has led in that has made over that has been a blockbuster like that was before that. Name another movie.
There's been a blockbuster that he's been the poster boy of, not a supporting
poster boy,
character.
because that's what he was for Venom. Because Venom was
He doesn't do blockbusters though.
Exactly, he is not, but he does not break in the money.
He's a heartthrob.
He didn't. I disagree. He did
not. You
think
it would have hit that 900 mil regardless?
It would have made 900 million for a lot of other reasons than that. I honestly believe that. But then, not only on top of that, you also have the best Spider-Man movie ever, which is Into the Spider-Verse.
Yep. I agree.
And Sony made that. Disney had nothing to do with that.
That's a fair argument.
So Sony comes into this deal thinking to themselves, why would we give you 10 times the amount that you're earning to make this universe. Yes, it's great for everyone. But if we're getting less money, but we're doing great on the side, we might as well take the risk and bring Tom Holland into the universe with Venom.
Yeah, that's fair. And Disney, maybe should have said, just balance. We can get some, you can get some. Let's all live a happy family.
25% is a lot more than 5%.
The point I'm making is Venom and Into the Spider-Verse are offshoots of the core story that Disney has been responsible for rejuvenating.
Sure.
Into the Spider-Verse, if we're talking every Spider-Man film ever made, yeah, that is the best. That is the best. It's outstanding. Mm-hmm. But if we're talking live action, the MCU movies completely run away with it. Completely run away with it. For me.
But also, you look at the Tobey Maguire movies, and without Sony, we wouldn't even have Spider-Man in movies.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I personally.
But Marvel have a far more impressive resume. They've resurrected characters, not even resurrected.
Without a doubt, the most productive.
When Marvel got Captain America, Thor, Iron Man, those were at the back catalogue.
They only made an Iron Man, Captain America, Thor movie because none of the movie production companies around the world wanted to make them, which is 100% fine. But you're telling me though that I think Spider-Man next to Batman and Superman is the most marketable character in film.
There's gonna always be trouble amongst characters like that, but we thought we were gonna live in a world where the rights to Spider-Man, X-Men, Fantastic Four,
everywhere,
were alongside Thor, Captain America, all these guys. We momentarily didn't have that. We do have it back now because Sony and Marvel came to a deal that the third film would get made. We don't know what's going on past that. But
it's going to be a third Spider-Man movie, and then Spider-Man's going to appear in another big film, which is probably going to be the New Avengers or. All right, okay. I need...
Or maybe Doctor Strange or something.
I was going to say Deadpool and Spider-Man. That's what I want. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. I don't think Deadpool's going to come... Kevin Feige did say that he does want Deadpool to come into the MCU.
It's going to be its own thing, though, according to Alan Horn and Bob Iger.
It's going to be its own thing, yeah.
Yeah,
it should be.
It is its own thing, because they're going to... It's just fair. It's fair, because it's R-rated. It's its own, ratings. But in a perfect world... Spider-Man and Deadpool would meet again because they did in the comics. It was incredible. But they are together, and I think it's a great deal because I think Disney are getting 35% now. And part of me wonders if Disney was willing just to move on without Spider-Man altogether because it was doing just fine without Spider-Man. Even in Endgame didn't have Spider-Man in any of the marketing.
Yeah. And he only comes in for the final battle at the end.
And even then, though, the marketing after that, you don't see Spider-Man on the Avengers Endgame poster. You don't see him in any of the trailers, really, after. So Disney probably sat to themselves thinking, damn, we probably don't need... let's get as much money as we possibly can, but we can possibly move forward. And I don't think they wanted to, but I'm thinking they thought it was possible. And then I think... Sony just stood its ground, which I'm on the side of. Sony are in the complete right from a business point, but I think now that he's back in, it's better for everyone.
Do you think that this lasts beyond that, or do you think we're going to find ourselves at the same stage we were a few weeks ago?
I think that this gives them enough time to give a proper send-off.
For the MCU.
For the MCU. I think Tom Holland is going to be Spider-Man probably for the rest of his life in some capacity. I think if after this he might...
Seriously?
Why? So
I feel like
he's the most well-recepted Spider-Man.
No, but
until he's 40 or 50.
No, bro, he's got aspirations of his own. Young actors like himself, they hate being typecast.
What I mean by him being Spider-Man for the rest of his life
that people will perceive him to be that.
No. Nobody will ever be Peter Parker after him unless they go into. I think after this it's Miles Morales. I think they're going to try and go into Spider-Man 2099 and all that, and then
that
older
would be
Spider-Man.
a good way of getting away from we're going to recast Peter Parker again. That would be an absolutely sick way to kind of put that on the back burner for the next decade. Then it can just happen naturally.
If it starts to sputter, but I personally believe if they try to reboot while it's still going up, I think that's a bit of a because Miles Morales now is probably the second most popular Spider-Man, right a little bit behind Peter Parker being number one. Because after Into the Spider-Verse, there's more child merchandise being given away for Miles Morales' brand.
I would have loved to have seen Miles Morales in the MCU. So I think
the future of Spider-Man, which is what this whole segment's about, the past, present, future of Spider-Man is that. Now I think from Damian's perspective, we're gonna get a proper send off. We're gonna get him doing his own thing in the next Avengers movie, being like, "Peace out, guys. I'll be in New York if you ever want me. Peace out. I'm done with all your crap. I need to stay in my own lane." And then we move forward in the Sony universe, which is great. I think that's awesome. If
they got a lot of characters coming through.
Does the Spider-Man need the Avengers characters to thrive?
No.
And
but it just makes it more enjoyable.
It makes it more.
Fans.
Oh, it makes it way more enjoyable. But I think in the future we're not going to. I don't think we're going to see much more after 2023, because the next Spider-Man movie is 2021. Then 2023 will probably be the next Avengers movie. They'll keep that. A few years.
Well, that is it for our News of the Week episode. Pretty MCU focused. We'll try not to be like that.
I don't think it's. I think we're okay.
Yeah,
I think
it's the news. The news is the news. Yeah.
It's like what is like the biggest news out there? This is what you guys want. If you don't want this, what do you want us talking about? Some like little filmmaker? Which, don't get me wrong, there's like tiny unknown filmmakers out there who deserve to have the stories known.
Well, this is all we've got for this week.
So deal with it.
Thank you so much for listening. We're going to have some reviews coming up, and we're going to be covering Grimfest as well this week.
Yes, Grimfest is the horror film festival based in Manchester. Me and Jamal will be at during this weekend.
Premieres, interviews, everything.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Catch you guys later.